Welcome to While We Were Distracted, the podcast where we explore topics that often get overshadowed in the rush of daily life.
Okay, so are you ready to dive into another case?
Always.
You know the Menendez brothers?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 90s?
Of course.
Yeah, we've got some new developments.
Oh.
Yeah, it's from a whole bunch of sources, too. We've got NBC News, we've got The Guardian, CNN, and even the New York Times.
Wow, that's a lot of coverage.
Yeah, they're all talking about the same thing, though.
What's that?
The LA District Attorney?
Oh, yeah, George Gascón.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
He's recommending a resentencing for Lyle and Eric.
No way.
Yeah, so...
The brothers who killed their parents in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
This is big.
So we are going to unpack all of this from the original murders,
The trials,
all the way to Gascón's reasoning.
and what this means for them. Wow.
Yeah, and we'll look at how this case has kind of been affected by true crime.
Yeah, because it's
You're-
been in the public eye so long.
Decades.
Over 30 years. It's crazy.
And there's always new debates popping up about this case.
Yeah, and, it's not just about, the legal system.
Right.
It really shows how our understanding of abuse,
Trauma.
and the media have all changed.
Yeah, okay, so for anybody who needs a refresher on this whole thing,
Oh, yeah, sure.
let's go back to 1989.
Okay. Back in the day,
So picture Beverly Hills,
rich and famous.
wealthy family, the Menendez family.
Right.
And then boom, Jose and Kitty Menendez are found murdered
Oh, yeah, in their house.
in their home.
Shotguns.
Shotguns.
Yeah.
And it was their sons, Lyle, who was 21,
Yeah.
and Eric, who was 18, who pulled the trigger.
Yeah, they were young.
And from the beginning...
There were a lot of details that really caught people's attention.
Yeah.
The brothers went on a big spending spree after expensive cars.
Watches.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
It really seemed like they were cold-blooded, just driven by money.
And all over the news,
That's all they talked about.
it was hard not to be swayed by that.
Yeah.
And then the trial started,
Oh,
and it took a really sharp turn.
big twist.
Yeah, the brothers claimed that they acted in self-defense because they had been abused by their father.
For years. Sexually abused.
And then things got really, really complicated.
Yeah.
There were 2 trials. The first one, the juries were deadlocked,
Hung juries.
couldn't agree, so much drama.
I know.
And then the second trial, they were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison,
without parole.
no possibility of parole. So it really seemed like that was it.
Yeah, the final chapter.
But here we are all these years later, and Gascón is recommending resentencing.
Wow, what a curveball.
Doesn't mean they're automatically getting out,
Right.
but it opens the door for them to be eligible for parole.
So that's why everybody's talking about
Yeah, and let's talk about Gascón's reasoning behind this. He stated that Lyle and Eric,
it. We're very young.
they were under 26
At the time.
at the time, and that they have been model prisoners for the past 35 years,
Basically saying they've served their time.
paid their debt to society.
Right.
And he's not the only one who thinks this way. Like sentencing guidelines,
I've changed so much since then.
yeah, they've evolved so much since the 90s.
Like there's more of a focus on rehabilitation.
Right.
Not just punishment.
Especially for younger offenders.
Yeah, true.
Gascón even admitted that this has divided his own office.
Showing just how complicated this really is.
It's a really tough decision. And then you add another layer to this whole thing
What's that?
with new evidence and how the public is seeing the case now.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, so remember Roy Rosselló from Menudo?
Oh, yeah.
He was in a recent Peacock docuseries,
I saw that.
and he alleged that he was also abused by Jose Menendez.
That's big.
Yeah, and that just adds a lot more weight to the brothers' claims.
Yeah, it's not just their word against their dad.
Exactly.
It's corroborating evidence.
And there's even more. There's a letter that Eric wrote to a cousin before the murders,
Really?
and it hinted at the abuse. And that also has come to light. These are all these pieces of the puzzle that weren't really considered back then.
That's true.
Makes you wonder how the trials would have gone if all this was known back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now you bring in this whole true crime thing.
Oh, yeah.
Shows like the Netflix documentary have really re-examined this case,
Totally.
and they've had such an impact on what people think,
Especially young people.
who might not have even been alive when all this went down.
Yeah.
They see the brothers totally differently.
As victims themselves.
And the way these stories are presented, the focus on the brothers' claims of abuse,
it really influences how we see them.
it makes you wonder how much our own opinions are affected by what we see on TV.
And in documentaries,
Yeah.
it's almost like a new trial.
But in the public eye.
And that raises questions about the media.
and storytelling.
and how that all mixes with the justice system.
And we are just getting started.
This is going to be a long one.
But before we get into all the family opinions and everything,
Yeah.
what do you think so far? Does this new evidence change anything for you?
I think we are just getting started. Stay tuned, because this case is going to get even deeper.
We're diving deeper.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up.
It's going to be a wild ride.
It is.
You know, it's crazy how much our justice system has actually changed.
I know, right?
Like Gascón's office has this whole resentencing unit.
What?
Yeah. They're dedicated to looking at cases just like this one.
So, like, people who have served enough time,
Or
maybe new evidence has popped up.
exactly.
Or maybe our understanding of the crime has changed.
Yeah, like what was considered justice back then.
It might not be the same now.
Yeah. We're always learning. And our laws should reflect that too.
It makes sense.
And for the Menendez brothers, Gascón is arguing that
Yeah.
they're not a threat anymore.
They're not dangerous.
Right. Like what worked back in '96 when they were sentenced.
Doesn't really apply today.
Exactly.
I can see that.
But it's definitely a tough thing to accept for a lot of people.
Especially with such a brutal crime.
Oh, yeah. And that's where the family's opinions are important.
It really adds another layer to all of this.
Like Kitty Menendez's brother, Milton Anderson.
Yeah.
He's totally against any early release.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He still thinks it was all about money
Wow.
and that they haven't really shown remorse.
I can see where he's coming from.
For sure. It's his sister we're talking about.
But it's interesting how other family members have such a different take.
It's true.
They're pushing the narrative of abuse.
And trauma.
Like Kitty's sister, Joan Vandermolen.
Yeah, she's talked about her struggle.
To come to terms with everything.
Right.
But after learning about the abuse, her view totally changed.
She sees it as survival.
They had to do it.
To protect themselves.
And she thinks they deserve another chance.
It's like there are two completely different stories here.
Yeah.
The greed and murder versus the abuse and survival.
It's crazy how they're clashing now with the resentencing.
It's...
Fascinating, but also so sad.
Yeah, this family has been through so much.
For decades. It's a reminder that these legal battles affect real people.
People who are still hurting.
But stepping back for a second, this case makes you think about how we see abuse.
Especially in court.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really big.
Bigger than just the Menendez brothers.
Yeah. It's happening everywhere.
People are starting to see the effects of abuse.
And are considering it in criminal cases.
Like, we're waking up to the fact that abuse changes people.
It changes how they think, how they act.
It's profound.
And movements like Me Too are helping.
Get more awareness.
And there's so much research now.
On how trauma affects the brain.
Especially in childhood.
We're finally understanding what survivors have been saying.
For years.
Their experiences are being validated.
And it's starting to affect our legal system.
Really?
Yeah, prosecutors, judges, juries are taking it more seriously.
Abuse can really change a sentence.
It's a big factor now.
So in the Menendez case, are we looking at this differently?
Oh yeah, those allegations that were ignored back in the 90s.
They're being looked at again.
Through a new lens.
A lens of abuse and its impact.
What if we were wrong?
What if there's more to the story?
This could change how we handle abuse cases in the future.
That's a lot for one case to carry.
It is, but it's obviously important.
And we can't forget about public perception.
Oh yeah, true crime media is huge.
How has that changed over the years?
Well, it used to be all about shocking headlines.
Sensationalism.
Yeah, but now it has this power to bring attention to injustices.
Like it could change things.
Maybe even change legal battles?
Like the Netflix doc.
About the Menendez brothers.
It sparked so much discussion.
That's the power of storytelling.
It can change your whole perspective.
But there's also that potential for exploitation.
True.
It's a tough balance.
But for the Menendez brothers, it's given them a voice.
Their claims of abuse are being heard.
Like they weren't back in the 90s.
We're more aware of abuse now.
How common it is.
How damaging it can be.
We believe survivors.
And we understand that sometimes people do terrible things out of desperation.
Because of trauma.
It's why this case is so hard.
Yeah.
It asks, can someone who committed a horrible crime also be a victim?
Can they be both?
Is redemption possible?
It goes way beyond this one case.
It touches on justice.
Mercy.
And human change.
We each have to answer these questions for ourselves.
There's no right or wrong.
But the Menendez case shows that we need empathy.
An open mind.
And to consider all sides of the story.
So where do we go from here?
What are the next steps in this whole resentencing?
And what could change the judge's mind?
That's a tough job.
They have to look at all the evidence.
New and all.
The brothers' behavior in prison.
everything.
They're under a lot of pressure.
No matter what they decide, it's going to be controversial.
Some people think any freedom is a slap in the face,
To justice.
while others think they deserve a second chance.
After all this time,
And the abuse.
it's so complex.
There are no easy answers.
It shows that justice isn't black and white.
There's so much gray area.
Nuance.
Tough decisions.
This is where the Menendez case goes beyond just the legal stuff.
It makes us face some uncomfortable truths.
About abuse,
Trauma,
punishment.
second chances.
So while we wait for the judge to decide,
What do you think?
does this new evidence change anything for you?
Do they deserve a second chance?
How much power should public opinion have? Can you imagine how different this whole thing would be?
If it happened today.
Yeah, like on social media.
Oh my gosh.
It would be crazy.
The think pieces.
All the opinions.
Non-stop coverage.
Back then.
It was a totally different world.
No social media.
You get your news from TV or newspapers?
And those early portrayals of the brothers.
Like spoiled rich kids.
Did that affect the legal system?
That makes you wonder.
And they were even mocked on SNL.
That's telling.
Today it would be so different.
Much more sensitivity around abuse.
We've come a long way.
In recognizing how complex abuse is.
And how it affects survivors.
The Menendez case really shows that shift.
We're looking back at this with new eyes.
Things weren't so black and white.
And it's not just the legal system.
The public is re-examining this too.
True crime documentaries have been huge.
They've let us revisit the case.
Look at new evidence.
Hear from people who were there.
True crime has become so powerful.
For looking at the past.
But there's that potential for exploitation.
Sensationalizing things.
Turning tragedy into entertainment.
That's a tough line.
But for the Menendez brothers,
It's given them a platform.
their claims of abuse are being heard.
More than ever before.
Because we're more aware of abuse now.
How often it happens.
How much damage it does. We're more likely to believe survivors.
And we understand that sometimes people do terrible things.
Out of desperation.
Trauma.
So this case is so hard because
It makes us ask, can someone who did something awful,
also be a victim?
is that possible?
Can they be both?
Is redemption possible?
These questions go way beyond this one case.
They're about justice
Mercy.
and human change.
What do you think?
Has any of this new information changed your mind about the Menendez brothers?
Do you think they deserve to be free?
How much weight should public opinion have?
Their story really makes you think.
It challenges our values.
And our understanding of human behavior.
They're about justice.
Mercy.
Redemption.
And it's a story that will probably keep fascinating people for years to come.
It will never really be over.
Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode on While We Were Distracted.